when you do have a pretty excessive trait and you regulate it, it's very, very, very good for you in relationships and leadership because it gets you to be very non-judgmental, but able to make judgments. There's a huge difference between the two, right? Like when I'm around a person who is radically different than me, I'm making judgments the entire time. You can't live without making judgments. You wouldn't even be here without judgments. You wouldn't have dressed without judgments. You wouldn't have sat next to the person you're sitting next to without judgments. There's a radical difference between that and judgmentalism. We have to make judgments, but ultimately speaking, God can judge the heart, and we can't judge the heart, right? So it allows you to not be judgmental, but to be able to make critical examinations of things that are actually taking place with empathy. And that's a superpower. Understanding and empathy, well, understanding is a gift of the Holy Spirit. But empathy, it's a superpower to go, I know why you're thinking that way, and you may not have evil motives for thinking completely whacked out crazy things, okay? And I'm using the extreme language because if you take something that is really radically different than you think that you know is absolutely corrupt, but a person thinks it, if you don't have the ability to discern those two, you're just going to simply make judgments on them and assume all the worst. But maybe it's actually coming from a place of just misguided empathy, right? And it needs to be redirected. And if it's condemned immediately, you burn that bridge and you can't get there. Here's something that you can be effective with. If you know somebody and you were always like this, and they're like, hey, did you know such and such? And you're like, that's stupid. No, it's not. Okay, and you even declare that's stupid, no it's not publicly, and then you are faced with something that is like absolutely true, and you cannot deny it, and the evidence is so much there, but you go, I was wrong about that, and I was very close-minded, and I almost feel kind of silly because I rebuked others for saying the same thing, but now the facts are so in my face that I simply have to accept it. And now I'm accepting it. Have you gone through that before? Doesn't it help you when you're around a closed-minded person to know what that is like? Wouldn't you agree that you know how to navigate a closed-minded person better with that? That what you have to slowly do is pry in additional information little bits at a time, but not with a hammer? That's the way that person really tends to understand. The more you hammer, the more they close, the more they just tightly grip to whatever it is that they have until they're fully committed to it. You slowly pry it open. One of the ways you pry it open is with questions. Questions, because then you put the power in the other person's hands to answer it. So there's just different things that you get as a gift. The number one indicator for career and relationship success is high conscientiousness. Not excessive conscientiousness, but high conscientiousness. Okay, that is an absolute leading indicator. It's very, very difficult to be around people who are not conscientious. And the reason it's difficult to be around them is because you cannot rely on them. Okay, there's a lot of broken promises and a lot of laziness, a lot of oversleeping, a lot of being late, a lot of being over budget. It's very, very difficult to be around a person who's not conscientious in a relationship too, because your word needs to mean something. But some of you are going to score low on conscientiousness. Does that mean that you're doomed by it? No. It's like scoring low on extroversion, but learning to be extroverted. In fact, do you know who I am more impressed by? A person who scores low on conscientiousness, but acts conscious or acts conscientiousness. That is high virtue. That is super high virtue when a person is able to do that sort of thing and to fight against natural inclinations. Phlegmatics have a tendency to fall more into the category of lower conscientiousness. Okay, like, hey man, what's the rush? Okay, it's like, you can see it when they're driving, slow in the fast lane, blocking you and not knowing what's going on. And the cleric is behind going, do you not see this? And the phlegmatic's up there going, honey, it's so nice. There's no traffic. Look ahead of us. There's no, and everybody behind, like, look in your mirror. There's a traffic jam behind you. Do you see that? Okay. By the way, and for whatever reason, when they do actually move over, and then you get to pass them, don't you have to look at them? You have to know, what was that? I just need to understand more. The phlegmatics don't need to do that. They're like, fine, no problem. Everybody else, cool down. I'm going fast enough. What's your rush? Okay? And we all kind of think these things are okay. So the choleric is a bad driver because they cut people off and they're nasty. The phlegmatic is a bad driver because they have no circumspection. They don't know what's happening around them. You can actually drive like a choleric well and drive like a phlegmatic well if you're virtue. If you have virtue, this is how you are. You're like, you know what? People are in a hurry. I'm going to get out of their way. They have a right to be in a hurry. Okay? It's not for me to judge if they're in a hurry. That's their right. So I'm moving over because they're in a hurry. Okay? And the choleric person is like, I'm in a hurry. And they're not. They have a right to not be in a hurry. So I'm going to go around them, but I'm not going to cut them off. And then we would all get along on the road. But it's when that ego gets in the way and says, well, since I don't think it's important for you to be in a hurry, I'm just going to block you because I'm passive aggressive. I have no power in my life anywhere and no authority. The only thing that I have that anybody wants is this spot on the highway. So I'm going to keep it because as soon as I move away from it, I no longer have anything that anybody else wants. Okay? It's the same thing in a parking lot when somebody's waiting for your space and you hang on to that because your life is so powerless. Okay? Let's give away from that. Or the choleric person who also knows they have no power except to cut you off and make your life miserable and scary. Neither one of those work. Now, the sanguine person can be in a hurry and cannot be in a hurry. They just want to be happy while they're doing it. And the melancholic could be in a hurry or not in a hurry. They just want to judge everybody while they're doing it. Okay? Okay. Do you know why we have the English accent? Just because it makes you sound smarter. That's all. Okay. Conscientious people are not actually motivated by accomplishment. Isn't that weird? Yet they accomplish a lot. It's the number one leading indicator of success, even beyond intellect, by the way. Now, IQ is very significant, but IQ is like body size and type for athletes. Conscientiousness is like how you train the body. Do you see the difference? If you train the body as optimally as you can and you have more natural physical attributes, you're going to dominate everyone. But if you have great physical attributes, but you don't work hard toward it, the person who works harder is going to dominate that person. But there's also like a certain amount of gap in there, right? There are some people that can work as hard as they possibly want no matter what and still not beat the person who is physically powerful and also lazy. Sometimes our intellects are like that too. But we have to optimize them. So if you have, by the way, do you know what motivates conscientious people? There are two primary motivators. Very fascinating. They have a high level of disgust. They are disgusted by things, disgusted by disorder, disgusted. This is gross. I can't let that happen. I need to get it done because, ugh. And it's not just actual gross things, but it's the idea of anything not being in order. And they're also motivated by guilt. I've been sitting around too long. I feel useless. I got to do something. I just got to do something. Sit down. Martha, relax. Jesus is here. Come on. Okay, it's totally that type of an environment where they just won't relax and calm down. Now, are both of those things good? Yeah, they are. But they're difficult to be around if you don't take them to a higher level, aren't they?